Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Scott and this is another My Bourbon Journey review. So if you're already a subscriber, thanks again. I greatly appreciate all your support. If you're new to this channel and you're looking for reviews of different whiskeys, such as bourbons, ryes, American style whiskeys, single malts on occasion, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification. That's going to alert you to when I'm doing new live streams and uploads. So today I'm doing a review of 36 straight bourbon whiskey. This is produced by Ranger Creek Brewing and Distilling out of San Antonio, Texas. So again, this is their flagship product, which is their 36 straight bourbon whiskey. This is basically produced, so fermented, distilled, bottled, everything at their distillery, so nothing is a source product whatsoever. So essentially this becomes a grain to bottle product, again produced by Ranger Creek Distillery, again out of San Antonio, Texas. Mash bill on this was essentially undisclosed. However, I was able to identify that the corn portion of this was 70%. The other 30% grains I was unable to identify in terms of what the percentage was of each one of those. Proof-wise, this is 96 proof or 48% ABV. Again, non-age stated. However, we do know that it is a straight bourbon whiskey, so it's a minimum of 2 years old. MSRP on this was right around that $55 to $60 range. So typically what I like to try to do with most or all of my reviews is we'll go through the appearance, we'll get into the nose, the taste, the palate, and then go through the finish, and then any other general things involving the channel. So why don't we go ahead and we'll kind of get into the review. So as you can see, so this is a really nice dark bronze type of copper color to it. So with this being aged in Texas, my guess is that with this being extremely hot down there in that climate, that this is really drawing a lot of the barrel influence from it, meaning it's really pulling from that char. Now, I don't know exactly what the char level is that they're using, but for it being, let's just say 2 years old, that's a really, really nice dark, deep bronze type of color. So that hot really is pulling out a lot of the barrel influence and reflecting into at least the color part of this. So really, really nice dark color to that. So all right, let's get into the nose. Boy, so a lot of really dark, kind of like burnt caramel, a nice kind of brown sugar note to that. A little bit of a kind of a grassy note to it. But again, those burnt sugars, that kind of caramel color, nose to it is really wanting to come through. A little bit of kind of some vanilla wanting to come through. That corn presence, heavy corn, so 70%, corn. There is some rye spice kind of wanting to come through, so you're really wanting to kind of pick up a little bit of that earthiness to it. That rye spice is coming through. And again, I don't know what the percentage is beyond the 70% corn, so I don't know what the next mixture would be regarding the rye and or if there's malted barley or anything after that. Yeah, really nice nose. Dark, kind of those dark cherry notes are kind of wanting dark fruits, the caramel, a lot of the really kind of heavy type of nose to that. So be interested to see how this tastes. Cheers. Yeah, so my first impression is really heavy on like the burnt sugar, like the dark, like more of like a molasses type of note to that. That sweetness, that you know, burnt caramel, like burnt sugar, in a good way. I mean, you know, dark fruits wanting to come through. There's also a bit of a chocolate or kind of like an espresso type of note, like a coffee note kind of wanting to come through. Yeah, that espresso or that coffee note is kind of interesting, along again with the burnt sugars, that caramel, a little bit of a chocolatey type of note to it as well. Some barrel influence, definitely a little bit of oak to that. There's a bit of a little bit of a nuttiness to that as well. But fairly sweet. It makes you still want to, with the sweetness, want to continue to drink it. It's really nice and easy to sip on. You know, a little bit of earthiness kind of coming through. But yeah, very interesting. A lot of the dark fruits again. That chocolate, kind of espresso note, really, really interesting on not only the nose, but the palate as well. I don't get a lot of chocolate on things and don't get a lot or much coffee influence on a lot of things, but I am picking up that note on this. So I'm kind of letting the finish develop here just to see if there's anything else that may kind of come through a little bit. Little bit of, I'm guessing that there's, after the 70% corn, I'm guessing it's more probably in the higher rye amount. I pick up a little bit of, in addition to the rye spice, I'm also picking up a little bit of a mint to that as well. So yeah, a lot of different kind of layers to this one. Very, very interesting flavor profile for this. So finish wise on this, I would say probably on the medium side. It's fairly soft. There's really good flavor to it. However, the finish isn't super long. I'd say probably more on the medium side. But the finish part of it still leaves you with that corn sweetness. Again, some of the burnt sugars, the caramel, fairly sweet for the most part. Yeah, let's see what else we can get. Little bit of a little bit of a leathery note to it as well. And there might be a little bit of like a zestiness to it. I'm not exactly sure like what the zest, it's not like super sweet, like it'd be like an orange zest or like a citrus note, but there's a little bit of that zesty type of note to it as well. I'm trying to pick that out. Definitely more of the nuttiness to it as well, wanting to kind of come through. There's a little bit of that nutty flavor, and maybe as the finish really kind of does start to develop a little bit more, maybe it is a little bit more on the drier side. Not overly dry by any means. A little bit of dryness there to it, but as the finish, I guess, begins to develop, it really starts out being sweeter. Then that kind of transitions into a little bit of the nuttiness. So with most of the younger whiskeys or bourbons, you know, more in that 2-year range, you're not getting things that are, I would say, as well balanced or as well put together as this is. There's a lot of different flavors, you know, going on. You're not just pulling out or getting a super, you know, youthful, you know, bourbon. There's a lot more complexity, you know, to this. So this seems to be one of the traits that a lot of the Texas distilleries kind of have. I think with that heat there, it really allows for, you know, it to pull a lot of the flavor out of those barrels. Not necessarily through the expansion and contraction, but that heat, it's really, you know, heating up those barrels, allowing that to, you know, become more of a full flavored, you know, bourbon whiskey. And this is all of that. So I think they've done a really, really nice job with this. You know, overall, it's a really nice, easy drinking, you know, straight bourbon, you know, whiskey. So again, I'll have links in the description below to the distillery. So if you want to check them out, you know, feel free to do so. I'll have some other things linked there below regarding the channel, things along those lines. So again, Ranger Creek Brewing and Distilling out of San Antonio, Texas. And yeah, give them a look, check them out, and you know, maybe give them you know, a try. You know, give them you know, check them out. So like I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.